I feel a change, something moving. I scream your name. Look what you got to do, and darling, can't get enough of your love, baby. Oh no, baby. Baby, it didn't take all of my life to find you, but you can believe it's gonna take the rest of my life to keep you.
Go, Susan.
Susan in the house. Come on now. All right.
Can't get enough of your love, baby.
Come on, Chris. I see you.
Girl, I don't know why. Can't get enough of your love, baby.
Lead Ryder in the house.
Oh, my darling, I can't get enough of your love, baby. Oh, baby. Girl, I don't know why.
Mike.
I can't get enough of your love, baby. Darling,
Christina.
I can't get enough of your love, baby.
Alessandra, what's up? All right. Yeah. All right.
That's it.
Oh my goodness.
That was fun.
Woo! That's very right.
I love the old school stuff. This is my favorite.
So
Yeah.
fun fact, I met Barry White.
Oh.
Wow. Was he nice to you?
outside a recording studio. It was with a friend of mine who was laying some tracks down, and he was out there leaning against his gold Rolls Royce. So chill, so cool. Gave my friend like all this music advice. It was awesome.
Nice.
So he was a good guy. He was a good man.
Yes, he was.
Oh, that's incredible. That's incredible. Well, we're back again. I see we have people in the waiting room. Oh no, they missed the dance party. Oh my goodness. Here they come. They're coming into okay, we released them from the waiting room. I'm going to go ahead and make Chris a
Yes, I was about to say you should make me a co-host earlier, boss.
yeah. Well, Chris barely made it to the dance party. Did y'all notice that? I don't know if anybody knows that. But
I still made it.
Yeah.
Hey, Chris, we got your back. We know he didn't let you in.
All right, so we're here for another week. Who's having fun? Raise your hand if you're having fun. Okay, good. Because I know, it's about, real estate should be fun again, right, League Rider? We should make real estate fun again. And for a lot of you, it hasn't been so much fun. The market is starting to shift. And anybody feeling that market shift? Raise your hand if you're feeling it. Raise your hand if you're not feeling it yet. Like it's not even a thing where you are. You guys are all seeing it. So your inventory is starting to slow down. Some of your is your money slowing down? That's what I want to hear. Is the money slowing down? It is, right? Yeah. That's a factor for a lot of people. In fact, I'm really considering the idea of hosting a special webinar about what to do as the market shifts. How we have, because you do have to shift with the market. So important. You do have to shift with the market. If you don't shift with the market, you'll be shifted out of the market. And markets always shift. In fact, it should have shifted a lot sooner than now. I'm going to lower my desk so I can sit down. I got one of these desks that raises up, which I love. I love it because I can get my groove on. All right, so I will help. Oh, this thing is going too far down. Hold on. Wait a minute. See, this is the first time I've used my setup since I've unpacked it with us moving here to Puerto Rico. So, all right. So I'm getting acclimated. Did anybody have a challenge with your assignment, with your homework assignment, creating the script? Anybody have any questions around that before we move forward? One of the, and the reason I bring it up is because one of the things that I'm known to do is I'm known to kind of go a little bit fast with a lot of the material. I know there's a lot of things that I'm having you guys do, and there's a reason why I'm having you do them. You know, a lot of times my students are like, Uncle Knolly, I need now money. Who knows what now money is? It's like, I need money now. And what I'm really teaching you is to build the foundation for the house, maybe for the first time, or maybe you've built the foundation for your house a long time ago, but it needs some attention. So we're rebuilding the foundation. And once you have the foundation in place, that's going to set you up for success no matter what market you're facing. That's the reason why we're going through this 8-part series on creating your value proposition. And thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that you guys are here. So let's dig into it. First, though, and by the way, what I'm realizing is that, you know, last time I kept you guys over quite a bit. Well, I didn't keep you. Well, I did keep you over. So I'm making a new commitment to keep within our time, because I know you guys have things to do, and it's okay. You know, I've told myself, Knolly, it's okay if we don't cover all the material that week. It's like going, you know, anybody ever been taking college courses? You know, the curriculum is there. If you don't finish it this week, guess what? Next class is going to be there again. You're just going to keep going. So we have, I won't say we have all the time in the world, but we have time to really learn this the right way so that you can set yourself up to succeed from here on out. How many of you have gotten some good epiphanies and some good ahas in the month that we've been doing this so far, the time that you've been here? Okay, good. I'm seeing a lot of raised hands. Great. What challenges so the first time we talked about creating your top 10 list, and then we talked about you creating or get, your Google account, so that Google business account, so that you can start getting reviews. Some of you are starting to get reviews for the first time in your career. People don't just naturally review you. You've got to ask for that third-party validation. It's so important. And these reviews that you're getting today are going to serve you a year from now, even 5-10 years from now. People will be looking up these reviews and saying, wow, Alessandra's got a great review from back in 2022. Golly, she's been in business a long time. And this is kind of the thing that will continue to carry your career. Now, last week we talked about creating your script for your video. Let's talk around that. Any challenges that you guys have had up until now with any of the assignments? Any questions or anything like that? Now's a good time to bring those up. You can either throw them in the chat, raise your hand to speak, or just unmute yourself.
This is Susan. I'll go first because this was a really big one for me. Last week when you asked us to, like you said, oh, I'm going to call on you for some reviews. And at first I thought, oh, what if he doesn't call him? And then I thought, if he does, because I really, and so I didn't raise my hand because I froze. I had to go back and look at the whole rest of the class because I was just terrified from there on out. This is where I live. This is the thing I most want to do, is those online reviews, because, as you know, Aunt Susan is writing. I have kids that call me Aunt Susan. I'm writing a series of books, and I want to be Aunt Susan reading those books to them. Yeah. And so I just decided, okay, let me just freak out and get it over with. And then I said, it doesn't matter how I feel. I'm going to go ahead and do it.
Good for you.
So that was my big decision. The other thing I'm having the challenge with is this book, because I'm reading it and it's riveting, but I want you to know that I'm not as nice a person on the inside as I am on the outside. Yeah. Because I say nice things, but it's like the Southern bless your heart. I once had a client say to me, I don't have a heart. And I said, honey, I'm not really blessing it, because bless your heart is Southern for F you. Right. So most of the time, not always. So I'm really getting to see that my thoughts are things, and I'm not getting the results I want because I'm doing and saying one thing and I'm thinking another. So correct. This is probably my hardest part so far. Yeah. Yeah. You know, the thing about our journey and by the way, this is the book of the month, Feel Free to Prosper, by Marilyn Janae. It's a beautiful book. And our thoughts are things. Okay, very important for us to understand this. A lot of people don't realize, Susan, that when God created us,
he created us in Genesis. Scripture says God created man in his image. Okay. And actually it says they created, it's a plural. That's a whole nother study, but God created us in his image. Now the word image is the word similitude. Okay. So we are created in the facsimile is another word that could be used. We were created in the facsimile of God. Okay. He created us like him, like himself. And he created us in his image. Okay. And so what that means is that there are things that God has given us. There are certain keys that we've been given that most people don't take advantage of. And when Christ came, he came to show he came to show, not only did he come to live for us and die for us, but he also came to be an example for us of how we can live. Okay. And so it's, what is very clear in scripture, a lot of people don't catch this from scripture, but it's very clear that we are not judged on the things we do, although we are judged on those. More so, we're judged on the things that we were judged on our intention. We're judged on the intention of the heart. Okay. So in other words, you might do something, we've talked about this before, with an ill intention, or you might do something with a naive intention. You didn't mean any harm, and God doesn't judge you for it, even though the outcome may be really bad. Okay. So for example, you could, God forbid, you could, run over a little kid, but it was rainy outside. You couldn't see, the kid ran out in the middle of the street. And I had a friend that this happened to, and you ended that individual's life on the planet. Okay. But now you could maliciously do that as well. And there's two separate things. And so when you set so what does that matter? What does it all mean? Well, when you set an intention, God said, let there be, and there was. And he said, it is very good. Okay. Well, when God created us in his image, he created us in his likeness, in his similitude, in a facsimile. So we are really carbon copies of God. A lot of people don't like to hear that, but when you can't deduce anything else when you actually study Genesis and what God actually created. He created little tiny versions of himself, and he called them Adam, and he called them Eve, and that's you and me. Okay, now we're fallen. Okay, we fell, but we've also been redeemed. And what a lot of people don't realize is that there is a whole, there's a multitude of blessings that we could and should be walking in that we're forsaking because we believe that we're still unredeemed is how we're living. So anyway, that's a whole, we're getting into theology and a lot of other study, but the reality is when you say something, but you don't mean it, then you don't get the result. And that's the reason why people say, oh, I say my affirmations. But see, if your subconscious mind isn't on board with what you're saying, you're not ever going to get the result. You could say affirmations. Now, affirmations are good. I believe in affirmations, but they have to have the belief. They have to be backed by belief. Okay. And so, yeah, good that you should bring that up, Susan. I'm glad that you had that epiphany. Yeah, I'm glad. And this is about changing and becoming who God created us to be. Our ultimate greatness. That's what this is about. A lot of times you can make those little shifts and your business will just blow up from that. It's like, well, what did I do? It's not what you did. It's what you began to do. You began thinking differently. A lot of the learning that we're going to get in this court in our time together is going to be unlearning. Okay. Unlearning. When Michelangelo sculpted the David, anybody ever been to Italy to see it? I think it's in Italy, right? The David sculpture. Anybody gone there to see it? Okay. Yeah. Lee's been. Okay. Ursula's been. Susan's been. And maybe a few others have been. So they asked Michelangelo, they said, man, how did you create the David? How did you get that David out of it? It was just a block of marble. He said, the David was already there. They said, what do you mean? He said, the David was already there. All I did was remove all the obstructions so that you could see David. David was already there in that block of marble. I just removed everything that wasn't him, and it became clear to see. And that's what this is about. Your ultimate greatness, you're like, oh, I'm on this path to greatness. Greatness is already within you. You are already great. It's just a matter of us removing the obstructions so that your greatness can shine. The David is already there. Okay. So very important. I'm glad you put us on a tangent there, Susan, but that's good. I'm glad you had that epiphany. Hopefully many others have that as well. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else want to chime in or have anything that you need my help with?
Knolly, boss, Lee is raising his hand. Lee?
Oh, hey, Lee. What's up, buddy? I see you.
All right.
He was just raising his hand about going to Italy.
Okay.
Sandra says thoughts with feeling equals manifestations. That's true. From your wishes, your command. Absolutely right. Thank you for sharing that, Sandra. Well, let's get into, if you guys have any questions along the way, because I don't want to just be that teacher that throws assignments out and doesn't help you along with the assignment as you have questions. So let me know. I did see several of you have already posted your homework in the Facebook group or in the Mentorship Masters group, whichever where you're posting. And so I appreciate that. We are looking at those as a group together. I want you guys to look at those. I'm going to look at them as well. I'll make some comments on those as well. And if anyone wants me to critique theirs on the call during the class, I'm happy to do that because we're all learning from each other. So what I want to do, I'm going to share. Let me pull up. I want to pull up the lesson for today. Bear with me while I pull that up. I was too excited about the dance time that I didn't. I haven't even pulled it up yet, but that was fun. Okay, let's see. Okay. Let me share my screen so you can see what I'm seeing. Is that Patty Lynn humming? That must have been Patty Lynn. She muted herself.
No,
I like
it
that.
wasn't me, but
it wasn't
could
you.
be. No.
They were getting down. Somebody was humming, was getting down. I like that.
Who was it? That's
I think it's Jacqueline.
Oh,
Yes.
Jacqueline. She's in her happy place. I like hearing that.
You're the one.
All right. Okay, so let's look at it. So today, last week we talked about your value proposition, getting your prospects to know you, creating a winning sales video. That's what the sales video is all about. This week, our focus is going to be also on your value proposition. We're going to be in the 4th lesson. And today I'm going to talk about creating your custom book or your white paper. Okay. I'm going to talk about how to do it, what it's going to do for your business, why you need it, all that kind of good stuff, the how and all that. And remember, Proverbs 10:22, the blessing of the Lord brings wealth without painful toil for it. There's another way to live, and that's what we're learning here every single week. I want you to leave every session with a new strategy, mind shift that will elevate you and your business so you can spend more time doing what it is that you love to do. Okay. The 3 types of freedom, if you're not experiencing more of it, this is what you absolutely want in your life. It's a gift. It's the gift that is for you. And don't turn your back on this gift. Financial freedom, time freedom, location freedom. We talked about you being in the maze and now being above the maze where you can actually see your business very clearly through this. I call it the 3-hour workday. Okay. And the 3-hour workday really is a concept where you take 3 hours every single day, time blocked to focus on the most dollar productive activities. Okay. So even if you're working an 8-hour day, 10-hour day, which you shouldn't be if you're following my system, but even if you are, 3 hours of that is just dedicated to the most dollar productive activities, to where eventually you delegate everything and you're only working, like I do, 3 hours a day. Okay. Right now I'm in the process of writing my book. And so what I did was I allocated 75 minutes every day. It's 1 hour and 15 minutes to write my book. And I got picked up. I got a publishing deal with McGraw-Hill, thank God. And that was my new agent got that for me. And now we're working on a TV show is another thing. So you'll be hearing more about that as well. The Business Healer TV show, which we'll be filming in a couple of months. Now, if you're not already part of this, if somehow this came to you by way of a share, you can join the class. We have a dance party every week, followed by training and learning. You can join for $1, get you 30 days of access to see if you love it, like everyone else. Last month, it was the book of the month was Your Wish is Your Command. If you haven't dug into that, it's actually an audio series. Make sure that you do. It's in the portal. This month is Feel Free to Prosper. And Susan already told you some of the things that it's bringing up in her life. So that's a very important book. I want us to read these books together as a group and, set intentions together and grow together. Okay, it's very important. So our focus this week is going to be your value proposition, getting your prospects to know you, and creating your custom book or white paper. Thanks. Gracias. Thank you. All right, I got some good nutrition right here. We have a neighbor in our neighborhood, and it's a blessing to say this, that they had a problem where they had too many star fruit. I don't know if anybody's ever had star fruit, but star fruit is really good when you juice it. And so Josie made a really good blend of star fruit and grape juice, star fruit juice and grape juice. So, and it tastes really good. So I'm going to be enjoying that. Feed the body, feed the soul. All right. So your top 10 list, that was one of them. Your client reviews, your sales video, now your book or white paper. Okay. Now, again, up into this point, now, by the way, your sales video, what do I want you to do with that? I want you to begin filming your sales video. You can spend the next 2 or 3 weeks to do it. Don't worry. It doesn't have to be done. You don't have a deadline. Like let's give you 30-day deadline. Let's write that down, Chris. Let's give them a homework deadline, 30 days to shoot your sales video. Some of you have been making it really short, and that's fine. You decide to do a longer one later. Just make sure that in your sales video, you're articulating your value proposition and why you're better. Okay, why you're different, why you're the flavor they should select. So now today I'm going to talk to you about your book or your white paper that you have. And then by the end of this week, you'll have four tools that you'll have in your arsenal that you're either completing or in the process of completing. And then I'm going to give you 4 more. There's going to be 4 more besides these. And when you have all of those tools, people will not be asking you to cut your commission. They're not going to be asking you, why should I hire you? They're not going to be asking you any of those questions because it's going to be overwhelmingly obvious. It'll be like the dumbest question to ask. So we do have 4 more parts after today. Now, getting your prospects to know you. I'm going to talk to you about the book that I wrote called Consider It Sold. Why? Because it's been a phenomenal tool in my arsenal. And by the way, books have been a phenomenal arsenal for me ever since. I've written several books since I wrote that one. And there's a strategy behind books, and I'm going to share that with you. But if you don't even want to write a book, you can actually do a white paper, which is like an 8-page sort of article, if you will. That works also. Okay. So your custom book. Now let's talk about this. Let me just show you mine. And the reason, actually, now this is the updated version of it. You can see here, Consider It Sold. Now, have you ever gone to an appointment and let's say for those of you in real estate, most of you are in real estate. Have you ever gone to a listing appointment and talked for like an hour? Anybody ever spent an hour on a listing appointment? Who spent more than an hour at a listing appointment? That would be me. Yeah. Because I don't have that high D. So I spend probably more time than I should. And I have a high I. So I like people. I like being around people. And so how much would you say, put in the chat, what percentage of what you tell a person, at the appointment, do you think that they remember? What percentage? Put in the chat. 10%. Somebody. Okay, Mary says 10%. Kim says 10%. Marilyn says 20%. Susan says 20%. Jasmine says 10%. Melissa says 30%. Justin says 10%. Yeah. So Alessandra says, I'm a DI. What was the question again? So when you go to when you go on a listing appointment, you spend an hour, maybe an hour and a half of your time with a client or the prospect. How much of what you have shared with them during that appointment will they remember? The 90 minutes that you spent together, and you're telling them to do this and to do that, and here's what's going to happen after we get a contract, and here's what percentage do they actually remember? 15 to 20%. Sandra says, Victoria says 15%. Jacqueline says maybe 30%. Yeah. So I was finding the same. Eric Garris says definitely use your top 10 and your video. Yeah, for sure. I was finding that people would call after the appointment and they'd be asking me the same questions, stuff that I knew I had covered with them already, but they'd be asking again, and it was taking up a lot of time. See, I'm a master of efficiency. I'm a student of efficiency and a master of efficiency. And if you have to answer the same question twice or three times, there's something inefficient about that. Just think about all the appointments. And of course, when I was, busting it, doing it, I was doing 150 listings a year, somewhere in there. And I was spending a lot of time in front of people, and having to repeat myself was taking a lot of time. So I decided that I was going to create a document that people could go to so they wouldn't have to rely on calling me if they had a question after the listing appointment. And it was going to also be something that I could use before they ever met me to build confidence. Because I said, you know what? I want to be famous. I want to be well known. And you should also be famous in the areas that you serve. You should be famous. You should be well known. And that's what I wanted. And so I said, well, what do famous people have? Well, most of them have a book. So I came up with the idea one night. Josie and I were just hanging out, and I said, I'm going to write a book. And that's the book that I wrote. I wrote a book called Consider It Sold. And so the book is actually written in 8 chapters. And the first chapter, I'm just going to kind of read them out to you. I'll give you a link to where you can kind of page and thumb through the book. So the first chapter is deciding to sell. And I'm going to share with you the psychology behind this concept. First of all, it makes you an instant authority. Okay, when you have a book, you become you're an author. You become an instant authority. And so the first thing I wrote, the first chapter is called Deciding to Sell. Because some people, when they're in the decision-making process of selling their property, they don't want to be sold. Like, they don't even want to talk to a realtor. In fact, the last person that they call before they sell unless it's a good friend of yours, the last person they want to sit down with is a realtor. They've already done their own research. They've done their own homework. They've already come to a conclusion. Then they call. And see, that's not when you want to be meeting with them. You want to be in the early stages. So whenever you think about, like whenever I would think about or hear somebody like, hey, such and such is thinking about selling her home, a neighbor would tell me. Now, that person never told me, but the neighbor would tell me. So I would just drop off a copy of my book and say, hey, Luis told me you were considering selling your home. You're just thinking about it right now. So I'm going to drop you off a copy of my book to help you understand the process. So it was a give. And then I'd start walking away. And they say, well, wait a minute, I got a question. Now, if I had come to them and said, hey, I heard Luis said you, or I heard you were thinking about selling your home. Who told you that? See, they're not ready to talk to you. Luis running his mouth again, but now that I gave them an item of value, I start walking away, right? Then they're like, hey, well, wait a minute. I'm not selling. Like, hey, I just thought this would be informational. Have a nice day. And I start walking away. They're like, well, wait a minute. Hold on a second here. That's called a takeaway. Patty Lynn knows about that. So deciding to sell it's just a chapter talking about, hey, here's some reasons why people sell. Here's the top reasons according to one of the top moving companies. Here's what to look forward to. Here's the psychology behind it, all that. Then the second chapter is called Marketing Your Home for Sale. Okay, that's when I share with them all that goes into the marketing plan that I implement to get their home sold. Okay, and I'm starting to indoctrinate them with the idea of listing with me. The third chapter is pricing your home. So I get them into the idea of how are we going to price this? How are you going to come up with the right price for your house in order to get it sold? Especially in the market that we're coming into, price means it 2 months ago or 3 months ago, price didn't matter. Just put a price on it. You come in and but now price matters again. Okay. It always did, but now it really matters. Okay. And so we get them in the psychology of what it takes to price their home. Chapter 4, getting your home ready for market. Okay. Everything that goes into that process. All right. Now, chapter 5, choosing the right agent. Okay. It's going to all lean toward me. And that's where you use your top 10 list right in there. Chapter 6, I know I'm going fast. Chapter 6 is about handling showings. How do you show your property? If you have a renter, how is that process going to go? Everything that they need to know to be able to prepare for every single showing to show it the right way. Okay. Now, these are things that you might be sharing with your clients at the table, at the listing table, kitchen table, but you guys just told me 10% of what you told them they're going to remember. So what are they going to do? They're going to call you, or they're going to call your office or your assistant, and they're going to be asking questions that is going to be wasting time for them and for you. Okay. Now, chapter 7 is working with offers. So it's all about, and let me share with you how I use this. So when it comes to getting their home ready for market. So when I have a listing appointment, I say, now, Kathy, we just talked about all the things that I recommend. We walk through the house, and I'm going to send you a short little list of what I recommend, my punch list. But here's the chapter. Chapter 4 is about getting your home ready for market. Read that chapter, and once you feel like you're ready for photographs, let me know, and we'll come by and do another look, and we'll schedule photos. Okay. So they never have to call me again to remind them of what they have to do. Okay. Then chapter 6 talks about handling showings. Now we're on the market. They're getting showings. They don't have to call and say, hey, Knolly, what did you say I'm supposed to do about, when I leave the house, was I supposed to do this or that? No, that's in chapter 6. Oh, Kathy, that's a great question. I covered that in chapter 6. It's all about showings. Just go back and brush up on that chapter, and you'll know everything. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. Boom. I just saved myself a lengthy conversation. Now, if you're on the trajectory to quadruple your business, which is where I want to take you, then this is going to come in handy, because when you start doing volume, that's going to save tons and tons of hours of your time. Okay. Having this as a assistant for you. Working with offers. What I do with my clients is I say, now, Kathy, we just got an offer in. I think it's a pretty good offer personally. But what I want you to do is I want you to read chapter 7. It's all about working with offers. Okay. Read chapter 7. And then you and Randy can call me sometime this evening with any questions you have after you've read that chapter. Now, they read the chapter, they call me, they got 2 questions. Because why? Because I don't have to spend 20 or 30 minutes going over the offer with them, because they've read the chapter where I do that in the chapter. You see, this is all about working smarter, guys, working smarter and more efficiently. And then the last chapter is chapter 8, closing on the sale of your home. So that chapter, it basically walks them through. So now we've got a contract on the house, and they're getting ready for closing. They're like, Knolly, what was I supposed to bring to closing? And how does all that process? Oh, that's a great question, Kathy. I'm glad you asked it. I covered that in chapter 8. It's all about closing your home. All you got to do is go back and read that chapter, and it'll tell you step by step. And if you have any questions at all, give me a call. Okay. So what this does, this little assistant right here, and I have a lot of, not a lot, but I have a few students that they've even purchased the license from me, and they've never put their book together. They just like giving me money, I guess. And it's not just so you can look smart and look good. It's a dual purpose. Yes, it does that. Yes, you can, I've got a licensed version of it where you make it your own. For everybody, all of you guys that are in Mentorship Masters, this is already unlocked for you. And if you're not using it, I don't know why. It just baffles me. If you're not in Mentorship Masters, that's okay, because you can license it. And on the back, there's a service directory, and each of these people pays you $99 a year, and that covers the cost of the license. The license is a one-time fee. Okay. Now you can write this yourself. You don't have to use mine. You can come up with this on your own. back in the day when I started coaching, I would tell people about this book, and I didn't have it available to license. And I kept telling my students, okay, put your book together. It's going to help you, man. I can't tell you how many people I walk in the listing appointment, they have the book in their hand. Why? Because I mailed it to them before our listing appointment, I had somebody drop it off on their doorstep with my pre-listing package and the book, and they're just impressed. Even if they didn't crack it open and read it, they're ready to list with me just because I got a book. You know what I'm saying? I had one gal, the one that Kevin Cooper and Associates, Samantha Cooper, was on a girls' retreat, and she met with this other gal and they hit it off. And she said, hey, my sister's a real estate agent. The other gal said, Samantha Cooper's an agent that purchased the license for this. And she said, oh, well, let me give you my book. And she actually listed with Samantha. Why? Because her sister didn't have a book. And she was really, she was really digging Samantha. So not only does it educate your clients, but it saves you tons and tons of time. So you can go to successwithlistings.com, Don't go there now, but go there when you want to, when you can, and you can read all about the philosophy behind it, why I created it, all that kind of stuff about this particular book. But truthfully, there's tons of people that have taken it. What I did was I created a vanilla version of it so that you could just pop my picture off and pop yours on. And then it becomes your book, right? And people have made it look like whatever they choose to make it look like. Some people put their picture on it, some don't. So now, if you choose not to do a book, I say at least have a white paper, okay? And that would be you creating a really good article, kind of like a blog post, but maybe about 8 pages, okay, in length. Now, I do want it to be printed. Yes, I know print is dead. It's not eco-friendly. Everything's digital. I get that, okay? But in this age of sales, okay, people like an IOV. Write that down, IOV. Everybody, y'all know, most of you guys know what an IOV is, an item of value. An item of value in my book is something that people won't easily throw away, okay? Now, if you currently have an IOV that is irrelevant, people are like, I don't need this, they toss it, like a calendar or sports schedules. And those are good. Don't get me wrong. Those are great in some cases. But if you're not in the sports, that ain't gonna go in my refrigerator. You know what I'm saying? So just think in the terms of an IOV as being something that people will have a hard time throwing away. They might still throw it away, but they'll have a hard time doing it. Like, no, I'm not gonna throw away the book. Now, the other thing that I do with my book is at closing, I make sure to take 5 copies of the book at closing. And then I turn to Kathy and I say, hey, Kathy, did I do everything that I promised I would do to get your home sold? And I start shaking my head like that. And then pretty soon she's doing it like, oh, yeah, you did everything. I say, well, here's 5 copies of my book. The book that, oh, yeah, I love your book. Well, here's 5 copies. So anybody that you come across that's thinking about selling their home, I want to make sure you give them a copy. And when you start running low, just let me know. I'll send you some fresh copies of it. So now I've got every single one of my clients becoming recruiters for me to help generate more business. That's the power of having something like your own book. Or if you had, it's not going to be as powerful, but even if you had a white paper, we call it, and you can Google and look up white papers, pull them up, look at different ones. Something that is going to help make the job of them selling their home easier. It's going to explain the process to them. And it's going to be something that's going to save you time from having to answer a lot of questions. And also it's going to be something that they could pass on to other people that are thinking about making the journey that they made with you, okay, at the end of their journey, right? So, so that explains, that's another value proposition that when you have it in your arsenal, it's going to do all the stuff that we talked about. Now, are there any questions about this? And I know I saw Chris sent me a question, but I haven't been paying attention to the chat. If you have a question, raise your digital hand. Let me see. let's see. So, Carol. Did Carol have a question, Chris? I see that you sent me her question, but I don't know what that's in reference
Yeah,
to.
yeah. Earlier, yes, she was
Oh,
asking.
okay.
If, okay, I replied to her already.
Okay, cool. Regina says, "Can I borrow your book and put my name on it?" LOL. That's funny, Regina. Of course you can. You're a mentorship master. Yeah, and Sandra has one for SRES because Sandra Quiros, she does the I guess you call them baby boomers. Is that still what we call them? Yeah, I guess that wouldn't change.
Yes.
Seniors. I'm I'm rapidly becoming one. Hey, what's up? My seniors in the house. I'm 52, but my wife is 61, and so we're solid. We're solid in the in the seniors category at this point. Never thought I'd be saying that, but hey, people. I'm going to say this real quick. People start to hating on young people. I saw some young people yesterday. I was on the beach, and they're probably like teenagers, and I see a lot of older people, not old people, but older, mature people, hating on them like, oh, look at those kids over there. They just don't hate on them. You had your chance. They're having fun. Let them do their thing. I look at it like I see a young guy, strapping young man, 30 years old. I'm not gonna be like, oh, fool. No. I was 30 once. I had my time. It's your time to shine. I'm good. I'm 52 and I'm loving it. I can't wait till I'm 60, 70, 80 and beyond. I'm gonna be loving life because everybody gets their own journey. So don't hate on them. All right. So any questions? Were there any questions?
Yes, I think Melissa.
Oh, Eric Garris had one too. Eric says Authorify is a great resource for helping you publish your own book and not too expensive. That's good.
Yeah, they have templates. They have templates already, and then you just can kind of go in and edit what's already there, change a little bit, personalize it, and then they publish for if you sign up for the monthly, they'll give you I think it's 10 books, hardback, hard copies, and and you could customize the cover and all that stuff on it. And then they give you digital versions, which are yours forever, even if you stop paying the monthly fee. So
nice.
Question on that: can you get vendors on your? I've worked with Authorify. Is there a place to have vendors advertise on your books with Authorify?
If you have them in place already, then you can add them too, and then they'll publish the book because you decide what cover you're going to use, what information goes where. You can customize all the pages with that as well. So you can add them in as long as you do it prior to them publishing.
Gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah, and remember too, Eric, you're a CS, right? Or SC. Yeah. So us SCs, we have no problem putting books together and getting in the minutia and the weeds. But the high Ds, man, they don't have time to be writing no book. I'm not going to work Authorify, man. I just look. I just want to put my cover on it. So that's what I've come across is a lot of people just don't want to do any of the work, and that's why I license mine. And you get and mine is a one-time fee. I used to do a monthly fee and all that. It's just a one-time license. You get your sponsors; they pay the entire cost. And then you never have another payment. It's paid for. And the books are $3 each to print. You print them yourself. So there's not an ongoing thing like that. But I also coach a lot of people that are not in real estate. So Authorify has, from my understanding, different industries. Is that right, Eric? They do different industries. Yeah. So it's a great, truthfully, it doesn't matter. Just get it done. That's the key. Do it. All right. My apologies, Chris. You were sharing something with me.
Yeah. Melissa. She's raising her hand, and Sandra. Go ahead, Melissa.
Okay. What sponsors are on the back of your book?
Yeah. Let me show you. So if you look at my book, you can see that I use a handyman, a carpet cleaner, a home inspector, a moving service, a house cleaner, and a painter. And I charge each of them $100. Okay. Because my thing is, if like a handyman, these are all trades that want to go along with you on your listing appointment. like a handyman. I say, hey, Kathy, you know, those two broken locks on those doors, and then that screen door that needs to be replaced. Here's my handyman. I mean, we talked about the carpets need to be clean. Here's the one I recommend. If you want to have your home pre-inspected, here's my guy. When you're ready to move, you know, check them out for rates. You got to have the house clean. We talked about that. Here's my house cleaner. And then those 3 bedrooms that are orange right now, we want to go ahead and paint those neutral. There's my painter. Okay. So when I explain that to like my painter, for example, my painter can make $3 or $4 grand on one job. And now he gets to tag along with me on every listing appointment I go on for $100 a year. Oh, that's a no-brainer. You know, he spend more than that on a steak and a few drinks. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So those are the 6 trades that I use. But you could actually use. I think in my book I write down like 40 different trades that you could pick from. But those are the most common. And then I also have a mortgage person.
Okay.
And I charge them $300. But they have like a nice ad on the back. Okay.
Okay.
So all told, you're collecting $900 a year from your vendors,
Mm-hmm.
and the license, what I charge for the license is $700, $697. You get $900. A lot of people, they go get their sponsors first and then they buy the license. But then in subsequent years, you're essentially, the books are $3 each, so you're going to make $900 a year. So you'll get 300 books or 25 books a month for free.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And what's the link to get the book? Success with Listings?
Yeah, successwithlistings.com, correct. Yeah.
Okay. And once you check our homework, like the 10 list page, then we should just go ahead and send them out to get printed.
Oh, you're talking about the top 10 list?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, so I print mine for sure. So when you go to, I'm just going to show you guys real quick. You go to Success with Listings. This is what we're talking about, the Overnight Celebrity Success Toolkit. Just click on that and that'll take you right over to the page that has all the information about the book, you know, if you choose to go that route. This is not about me trying to upsell my stuff. So I just want to let you guys know I have the resource available. And it only came about. There's another student of mine. I was like, man, how far are you along in your book? He said, I'm on chapter 1. I said, well, how far? He said, I'm on page 1. I reached out to him a couple weeks later. I said, how far are you? Chapter 1. I said, page 1 again, huh? A month later, chapter 1, page 1. I was like, man, when you go? So finally he said, man, can I just use your book? I was like, what? I got offended. You know, because the ego jumped up. I was like, man, fool, get you, you know, I'm telling you how to do it. You're going to try to jack my. So then I started thinking about it. I said, how much you want to pay me? So then it started going. I said, okay, well, here's what I'm going to do. I do a derivative license. I looked it up. I did the research. I do a derivative license, and which allows people to basically steal for it's a license to steal. No other way to say it. And so that way, because of copyright, if you infringe on somebody's copyright, that's a $150,000 fine. And I know I just signed with McGraw-Hill. They're telling me that even if I quote one sentence from one of my favorite authors, which I do that all the time, I got to get permission from them to quote one sentence in my book. I'm like, man, anyway. So it's a serious business. So that's the thing there. Now, as far as printing your top 10 list, I recommend I don't recommend that you guys wait for me to review that to go to print it. You know, you can go to Fiverr and have them edit it and stuff like that. Now, as a courtesy, I'm going to go in and from time to time, I'm going to look at, but I don't know that I can look at every single person's homework. Now, I'll do it as a favor for you. Like if you guys want me to do it like as a favor, say, hey, Knolly, I really need you to, like Melissa, you say, I need you to do this, then I'll do it. I'll go ahead and, but it takes a little bit of my time to go in and to have, if you can imagine having to critique every single one, that would be probably beyond the scope of what is being promised. Does that make sense, yes. Melissa? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but if you want me to do it for you, Melissa, I'll do it. Chris will make a note, make sure that gets on my schedule. But yeah, I would recommend that you print them. I don't recommend what I used to do is print 1,000 at a time and all that. Don't even
Like
go
the
there.
Print or some like the one of those print companies to get
You can go to Got Print. The problem is that's for volume. Because they're going to want you to print like, at least 250 or 100 or, something like that. So you could actually print them if you have a really, really good printer. You can just print, however many you need. Now I have all my stuff professionally printed. Okay. But I know a lot of people
will do it for you too. If you can just bring the file to like an Office Max or something like that, they'll print it for you. Correct. And then you can run small numbers. It's pretty inexpensive. Yeah. And they use full color laser if you don't have a laser printer yourself.
But no, I didn't want it on regular paper like at home I wanted more of a glossier, thicker paper where it looks more professional, more quality. I don't want them to think I sat at home and printed on my printer.
And that's why and I think they do have different stocks, right, Eric?
Yeah, they do have different stocks. And like, even with me, with my laser printer, what I do with my laser printer is I just get really that luxury bond. It's really heavier. And I'm telling you, everyone that grabs it, they go, whoa, wow. And I printed it right from my house. But it's just that thicker paper that makes you stand out. It feels kind of soft a little bit to the touch, but it's a lot thicker. Sometimes they'll try and see if it's 2 pages stuck together.
Right.
But just that feeling in their hands, I haven't had anybody they usually make a comment like, wow, this is really nice. Or I do all my listing presentations on that same paper, and you can buy all that stuff at Office Max, Office Depot.
Thank you.
Can you show us one, Eric?
Or they have the print services that will do it for you. What was that?
Can you hold up a copy so we can see what yours looks like?
I don't have, let me see 1 second. It's just a piece of paper.
Didn't mean to put you on the spot like that, but
no, I'm not, it'd be hard to demonstrate on Zoom, I think, because it's just, you're not gonna be able to see what the paper looks like.
While you're looking for that, I'll ask my last question to Knolly.
Oh, look at her trying to take up all the time.
No, I'm trying to hurry.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
You talked about a postcard in your book.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of struggling to what to put on the postcard. I know I want to print a volume and be able, I guess, send out to whoever every month the same postcard and have a QR code, but I don't know what QR code to show or.
We created, I actually gave a template. Is that template in the portal, Chris? The one that, or is it only in Mentorship Masters portal?
Well, which template are we talking about?
The postcard. Remember we created that postcard?
Yes, I remember it, but I'm pretty sure it's in the Mentorship Masters portal. But do you want to upload it to KCC as well?
Yeah, let's do that. So we did it in Canva. There's Eric. So we did it in Canva, and you can actually redo the postcard that I had. I mean, I use simple messages like thinking about selling. How much could your home be worth in today's hot market? What is your value? What's the value of your house now that the market has shifted? I use messages like that where it's kind of compelling for somebody. And then on the back of the postcard, I have trades that help offset the cost. So we'll get you the Canva version of it that you can take as a template and reuse that one. Go ahead, Eric. I'm going to spotlight you so you could show what you.
Let me pull it out again. Sorry. It's really hard to tell what the quality is on Zoom. But let me see if I have example. Let me see if I have the paper itself.
Okay. And then while he's doing that, I'm going to show you. So this is how, whenever I did my pre-listing package, this is how I would do it. I call it a seller's kit. And everything I did was printed on, I got these big gaudy yellow envelopes, and it was all printed on glossy. Now, I don't really teach this as much because this is actually a sticker. So when you look at this on the back, it actually peels off. It's kind of hard to see, but this is an adhesive that will actually stick on a box, right? If I wanted to do it that way, or I can just keep it like this. And then this is what we're going to cover next week is creating your sales system. Okay. So I did it that way. And then on the back, I had my testimonials. That's kind of hard. It's not coming in. If you guys, it's kind of hard to see some of this.
Yeah, we can see it.
This is my top 10 list. You can see that. Everything printed on glossy paper. Okay. Now I haven't updated these since I joined EXP. Why? Because I'm not really in production. I like teaching. That's my jam. Top 4 reasons homes don't sell. So all of this stuff I had printed at Got Print, and I would print a ton of them. Okay. But I always get pushback from people. You know, I like everything professional. That's just what I think it just, when somebody gets something that's, you know, I come from the music industry, and I just know when marketing my artist, we would put some slick covers on those CDs, and people would buy them, you know, and they were impressed. And so that's how I would do it. Go ahead, Eric.
Yeah, the paper I got that I use, you'll notice there's 2 numbers here. One, it's 28-pound paper, so that's the thickness, and it's a 98 very bright white. It's just an inkjet and laser. I just use a laser printer, but because it's so thick, it really feels like you've gone the extra mile, that you've printed something out or spent the extra money on doing something, and it's not much more expensive than 20-pound or 24-pound paper. It's maybe like $20 a ream or something like that. So you can do it pretty inexpensively. And even the printer I got was a Brother laser printer. Printer price has gone down so much. I think I paid $300 for a laser printer. The thing about laser printers is the toner's a little bit more expensive, but you get like 3,000 prints out of the toner. So it lasts a lot longer than your inkjet printer. So the total cost of ownership for a laser printer is a lot less than your regular standard inkjet.
Yeah, that's good stuff. You know, investing in a really good printer is a must if you take the game seriously. I remember the first printer that I bought, that really cost significant, $4,000 I spent on this printer. And it was so much money that the credit card company declined the charge. Of course, I was using my wife's credit card back then because I think I was 22 years old, 23. I didn't have credit cards. And they called my wife. They said, hey, do you know this guy? He's trying to charge this $4,000 printer. And back then that was a big deal. She was like, yeah, that's my husband. Yeah, I know about it. I still don't like that he's buying it, but we need it because I was running a magazine back then, you know. So Terry has a good point. He says, if you email the top 10 list to yourself on your phone and go to FedEx or another print service, then you can get it printed and just ask them what paper they have to print on. And they'll basically show you the different kinds of stock, the nicer stocks that they have as well. So Pamela's asking for a laser printer recommendation. I wouldn't even know now, Pamela, because truthfully, I just do. You can actually get to the point. Remember what I told you?
I sent her one in a direct message. I saw her comment.
Okay, perfect.
In direct,
okay, yeah.
The one that I use. But really, printers have come a long way since the $4,000 price point days. And if you just Google, laser printers for home office, and whatever fits in your budget would be a perfect printer to use for you. Usually how printers work is the less you spend on the printer, the more the toner costs.
Yeah, yep. And Alessandra's reminding us to use our NAR discount. So, all right, we're it, guys. That's it for time for this week. I know you guys thank you, Eric, for that expert advice. Thank each and every one of you. Now, next week, I'm going to show you, let me quickly show you what is for next week, because that's important. Next week, we're going to get right into, what are we going to talk about? We're still talking about your value proposition, but we're going to talk more specifically about, by the way, your exercise this week, create your own custom book or white paper. Now, that's something, if you're doing the book, give yourself 30 days. If you're doing the white paper, give yourself a couple weeks to do that. Next week, we're going to talk about your unique selling system. What is your unique selling system that you're sharing with your clients and your prospects to tell them how you're going how you're different, how you're going to really market, for them on, what is your marketing plan? That's all it is a marketing plan. So we're going to develop that together next week. And until then, drop me a line in the Facebook group. I'm going to get more active this week now that I'm kind of semi moved into my new place. Thank you guys for giving me a couple weeks to move in. It's been a blessing. I'm actually meeting with a mentorship master this afternoon to have lunch. Why? Because he's on the island. And then we're headed out in a few hours to go meet with him and his wife. So that's Zion Cristante. We're going to be hanging out. And so anytime you're on the island, let me know. Uncle Knolly's going to hang out with you. You know it. All right. Love you guys. And unmute yourself. We want to say goodbye.
Bye. God bless.
Bye,
brother.
Bye.
Hey, see ya.
Everyone. Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Have fun.
In the Puerto Rico.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.